Hello everybody and welcome to beautiful Virginia International Raceway, a circuit that is actually pretty much picture perfect for Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup racing, presented by Michelin, which is good because that's what we are kicking off our Super Sunday here with on IMSA Radio and IMSA TV. We're just outside Danville in Virginia. Actually, if you're staying up at Danville, I think you cross the border a couple or three times before you get to the track. 3.27 miles, 17 corners, with a bit of everything, really. A couple of long straights out of the hog pen at turn 17 down towards the horseshoe at turn 1. And then from there, very technical section as you climb up to a tricky braking area where you're turning right towards the old oak tree turn. Oak tree no longer there, of course. Exit from the oak tree critical because the longest and fastest straight runs slightly up and downhill before we hit turn 14, which is the top of the roller coaster, and then we head down through there to complete the lap. Shea is alongside me, John Hindhaugh. It's a fabulous day once again. With the air temperature around about 73 Fahrenheit on track, pretty much the same. That's about 23 Celsius. We kicked off the weekend with an absolute cracker of a race yesterday. From the start, the number 5 of Gresham Wagner, our pole sitter for today, led in. Jeremy Fletcher getting kicked off at the first corner and dropped all the way down to last position. Alex Bashura taking a wild ride and bouncing off the Armco. A couple of cars following him in as well. That's caused us our first full course yellow. Then there was a coming together with that number 50 car. That was the Western Hollingshead incident. Rookie to the lead, with Western Workman leading in the bright purple number 13. Now, all the while these battles were going on at the front of the field, do you remember Jeremy Fletcher? Yeah, well, he was fighting his way back from the last position and fought his way to the front. He held that position under intense pressure and came to the line to win overall. His first victory in Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup presented by Michelin, and that will be a race to remember. Shea is going to take a look at the Mazda grid for our second race.
We have 26 cars starting today's contest. The final car on the grid is our two-time defending series champion, Jared Thomas, in the number 96. A new livery this weekend for Jared for this race specifically because he had to switch to a backup car after having a starter problem in yesterday's race. Farhan Siddiqui starts alongside him in the number 95. Not Lightning McQueen livery this weekend. Christian Hodenland starts on 24th for BSI Racing. His car looks a lot like Peter Atwater, who starts much further up because they had to buy the backup car after Hodenland had an incident in practice. He has Woody Hyman alongside him for company. 22nd is Robert Mao representing Operation Motorsport in the number 16, and he has Zach Hollingshead for company on that row. Cody Powell starts 20th with Heather Hadley alongside in the number 54. John Jodoin is the furthest back of the McAleer Racing cars, but we will be talking about more of them as we continue up the grid. Ethan Tyler in the 80 for BSI starts 17th. Sally Mott is 15th. 16th and 15th is Christopher Allen. We've got Parker DeLong in 14th, and Peter Atwater, previously mentioned, in the light green car. The further up light green car is 13th. 12th, Nathan Nicholson making his return to the championship with a new team, Advanced Autosports. He has Jagger Jones, race winner from just a few minutes ago, alongside for company. Getting into the top 10, it's Jonathan Neudorf and Weston Workman on the 5th row. Aaron John Somm, who was the championship leader before yesterday, with Alex Bashura for company. Alex's car, after a crash yesterday, a little worse for the wear, but all good enough to take the start. Top 5, yesterday's race winner, Jeremy Fletcher in car number 22, alongside best ever qualifying effort for Grant West and Nate Cicero on the 2nd row, and the front row is Tyler Gonzalez, but our pole sitter is Gresham Wagner.
45 minutes are on the clock. We are ready to go racing for the second time of asking. Brilliantly organised 2x2x2 as we come to the green flag. And the Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup presented by Michelin is underway. On the inside, Gresham Wagner should have the advantage. Will Nate Cicero come around the outside of the first corner? There's a little gap on the inside. Maybe Tyler Gonzalez can make that work for him, but I think Cicero has dropped into second there from the outside. Nicely done. From the inside, rather, of the starting grid, but he pulled out. Start will be being looked at. That is absolutely standard operational procedure, but I think it looked pretty clean. They were so close together, Shea. I don't think there was any room for anyone to change lanes at the start.
No, I don't think there was. It was one of those beautifully orchestrated things, though, as everybody really behaved for the start of today's race. Really happy to see that. Yesterday, as you saw in the highlights, Jeremy Fletcher made a mistake going into turn one and shot off the outside of the racetrack at turn one. That came as a result of the NASCAR rubber from the HSR series. Congrats, by the way, to Mike Skeen, who won race 2. That rubber being laid down, the crew chief even said to Jeremy on the radio on the pace lap, remember, your braking is going to be different because there's different rubber on the track. Jeremy, once he got off the podium, walked over to his crew and said, yeah, sorry about that, guys.
Now, what a memorable first victory from worst to first in the space of under 45 minutes. Battle for the lead. We're not going to get overly excited about early position changes here if you're a regular to Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup and you think we're sort of playing down the action early on. This is not like any other race series you will watch. We expect a lot of overtaking. We expect a lot of trading of positions. So what we're looking for here is how the drivers are positioning themselves for the last 5 minutes. And we've had an incident coming down the hill involved
Woody
there.
Hyman.
Number 15, I can see in there. Yep, absolutely. On the Otmore cars in there as well. That's 2 days running for the first timer in that number 16, Robert Mao, former Navy veteran, or Air Navy veteran, should I say. Woody Hyman getting turned around back into the right direction as well. It looks like everybody is pointing back in the right way. Now, how did that start? Ah, that's a typical... Well... Now, that's not what... Was that Cody Powell who started all that off, Shea?
I think it might have been Cody Powell getting into Sally Mott. Sally getting turned around. No, it was someone up the inside of Sally. That would be Cody Powell.
Cody.
Yes, well spotted.
Yeah.
Then Heather Hadley checks up. Woody Hyman checks up to avoid Heather. Heather with some great driving off the circuit, managing to recover. But that's ultimately resulted in Robert Mao getting into the back of Woody Hyman.
Hello to Jamie McEwen, who's been looking forward to this all day. Huge international audience as ever for our MX-5 Cup event. This has not affected at all the front of the field because all of those cars continued. 82, 15, 16, all off. Farhan Siddiqui's into the pits as well, who must have been involved. Leaders coming to the top of the roller coaster. Gresham Wagner in the 5 car, the black car with the blue stripes on the fenders and down the side, and then the black front with the white stripe and the blue bodywork is Nate Cicero. In third, Jeremy Fletcher, yesterday's absolute hero. And those 3 cars, those 2 black and blue car and the light blue car, they are all McCumbee Makalia racing machines, and they've got a couple of seconds on Grant West in the number 60, who took a drive-through yesterday for avoidable contact. He's in 4th. This is redemption for Grant at the moment. He's the best of the rest for Spark Performance. Change of lead, Nate Cicero to the front. Again, we're not shouting and screaming about it because this is what happens in MX-5 Cup. If you're coming from watching what might be called traditional motorsport, and there's plenty of it on this weekend, where a change for the lead with 40 minutes to go might be termed very important. That's not how it works in Mazda MX-5 Cup presented by Michelin, because there will be plenty more changes of position and possibly changes for the lead. Top three breaking away, Shea. What is important is who's leading the laps, and Shea Adam is about to tell you why.
Because there is real cash money on the line. That is one of the big things. 10 bonus points for leading the most laps. We've already had 10 bonus points go the way of Gresham Wagner, the man who's got more bonus points than just about any other human being on the planet as far as this series is concerned. Actually, probably more than any other person. I think he's up to 380 points over the last 4 seasons. So that, in effect, is doing a bonus race, taking all the bonus points and winning the race. That shows you how valuable they are. But Gresham has led 2 laps. Nate Cicero at the head of this MMR train. Really interesting to see that those 3 guys have worked together to break away from everyone else. And John, you're talking about the consistency of this championship. The only thing that's consistent is change, because we have different winners every week. We have different pole sitters, and we have different people running at the front every single time we turn a lap at VIR.
Just clocking and charting the forward progress of the number 96 car. It's black rather than the red and white car we saw yesterday for JTR Motorsport. Jared Thomas started at the back of the 25 car field. He's up to 14th position with still 38.5 minutes to go in the contest. So keep an eye out for that black car in the pack at the moment, sitting behind Zach Hollingshead. We should also point out that there is a financial imperative for the rookies as well, and that has been led by Julian DaCosta at the moment, who's sitting in 4th position in the number 78 with Aaron Johnson, his teammate, right behind him. Weston Workman, who has got a couple of race victories overall on this season already, he sits in 6th position for BSI with his teammate behind him, and they are battling then for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, with Grant West in 8th. Jagger Jones, who's literally just jumped out of the previous VP Racing Fuel championship race. Oh, bit of bodywork being thrown up in the background there with some close quarters battling at the front of the field now. Cicero, Wagner, Jeremy Fletcher have pulled out 4.6 seconds here. When was the last time you saw that by a group? We had that brilliant race at Sebring at the start of the season when, because of an incident in the field, we had a singleton driver out there, and the pack didn't seem to want to come together to chase him down until they were organised by a former champion. This is something like that, but DaCosta and Johnson and Workman and Neudorf and Grant West, they're going to have to get their act together here, otherwise those guys are away.
This is the sign of great leadership. I mean, Macombi McAleer Racing is led by 2 former series champions in just about everything they've participated in, but with Mazda as well, winning the ST championship back in 2016 as Jagger Jones pushing Grant West just a little bit for grass cutting purposes. We don't need that, Jagger. It's okay. You can both share the black pavement. We're not on BF Goodrich's anymore. The Michelins are much better on the black pavement than they are the grass. But this is a sign of great leadership, because Chad McCumbee and Stephen McAleer clearly sat their drivers down before today's race and said, guys, if you want the 3 of you to be on the podium, work together early on, run away from everyone else. Don't do this kind of intra-team fighting. Work together, and that's what we've seen. They've taken turns leading. You saw Jeremy Fletcher poking his nose out that tiny little bit going down the back straight the last time. That indicated to me that maybe he was starting to get a little bit warm. So now they've given Jeremy the fresh air. This is brilliant orchestration.
Well, I've often likened this type of situation in the Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup to a Grand Tour bicycle race. What you have here is effectively 3 teammates that have got away from the peloton. That seldom happens, but they still have to work together and not fight. But as Shea says, everybody's got to take their turn on the front so that they can get some air into the radiators of these 180 horsepower. It's a stock motor, comes straight. All of these cars start off as street stock cars. They come in from Yokohama to the United States, and they head to Daytona for Fliss Performance to work their magic on turning the Mazda MX-5 street car into a bona fide pure race car. And these cars would not be street legal as they sit now, but the engine is exactly the same. Mazda Sport seal the engine so that no one can mess about with them. They keep a close eye on the electronics, and then all of the racing accoutrements are bolted into the car. That includes a SADEV sequential gearbox, new racing electronics to allow flat throttle shifting on up and down change with the auto blip, different differential wheels and tyres, all race items, dashboard, seats, even the steering wheel, and of course an FIA safety cage, rollover cage, and fire suppression system. There may be what some people would say was an entry-level racing car, but you cannot compromise safety, and these cars are extremely safe. And we have had to test out the safety capabilities of these cars down through the years, and the drivers will tell you we have walked away. Yes, in fact, yeah, I've put that to back of my mind there for the moment, Shea. Thank you very much for bringing that back up for the whole audience.
I'm so sorry, I thought that's where you were going.
Well, I was thinking about some of the things we've called rather than me heading off into the boonies at the top of turn 2 and 3 at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. Top 3 are together, and then there's another group of 4, and that 4 currently led by Aaron Johnson in the number 24 JTR. That's Jared Thomas Racing. Weston Workman, Jonathan Neudorf, and Julian DeCosta are the other 3 cars in that train. Weston Workman, the rookie leader in that purple number 13. And he's leading the rookie points at the moment as well in the championship. It's closed up a little bit yesterday in terms of everything that was going on. People having to fight their way back through. There's Johnson, the number 24, who was leading that group of 4, now drops down to 3rd and probably 4th in that group, as Jared Thomas in the black car is now with them. That is an extraordinary run from the back of the grid. This is the Zuber Financial Management and Tax Advisory car, and here comes that number 96 from the back of the grid. Can he do what I think we've got to call a Fletcher now? We've got to call it a Fletcher. Can he pull a Fletcher? He's trying.
It really is. My sharp intake of breath there was because Aaron Johnson, with a little bit of contact with team owner and teammate Jared Thomas, that's not exactly what they would want from those 2 cars. They want to keep them clean and pristine. And yes, now there is a bit of black on both cars, so they could probably get away with a bit more rubbing. But those 2 drivers definitely not looking to have contact with one another. Jared Thomas currently with the fastest lap of the race as well. He is flying out there.
Hello to Alan Prosser, who's listening over in Wales, where it's almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon at IMSA Radio, if you ever need to get in touch with us here in the booth. Now, it looks to be a big gap between the first 3. It's 5.5 seconds. Jared Thomas has the fastest lap, and therefore the bonus point for that in the race. And I wonder now, Shea, if now that Jared and Aaron Johnson are together there with Julian DeCosta in that little secondary group, I wonder if they can get themselves organised and try and chase down the leaders. The bad news for them is that the 3 leaders aren't fighting each other at all at the moment. They are working the draft absolutely brilliantly.
The MMR boys are doing exactly what they need to control the race today, and Jared Thomas looking everywhere to try and get around. That's the 55 of Jonathan Neudorf, so that is a BSI car that he's just made the pass on. Now he's looking at the back of another BSI car with Weston Workman. This is getting really good. I think Jared Thomas's car, which is supposed to be rolled out for the Martinsville test tomorrow, that might have a little bit something extra just because of that left turning setup. They did try to switch it over to VIR, but whatever they did, it's working. So way to go, JTR.
Now, you might be thinking, what is Shea Adam talking about there? I don't see Martinsville on the schedule. Well, earlier on this year, there was a test and some pretty big names in the world of oval and stock car racing that took Mazda MX-5 Cup cars out at Martinsville, not a million miles away from here by any stretch of the imagination. And then it was confirmed that we will have a winner-take-all money race, more real cash money, coming up at the end of the season. It's a non-championship race, and we can't wait. We absolutely can't wait for it. It is going to be brilliant. The test went really well, and it's a long time since I've driven an open-top car on an oval, but I have done at Rocky Motor Speedway in Northamptonshire, and that was a heck of a lot of fun on a pure oval, although that was a 1.5 mile oval. And I think it's going to be awesome, and we'll give you more details about how you can tune into that as we get towards that date. What I think's happening here in that second group, Shea, is that Jared Thomas wants to get to the front of that group and dictate the pace. Now, Weston Workman is fighting for his position. He's not in the same team. But if they can get that group now, which was 4 and which is now about 7 or 8, basically 2 cars will go quicker than 1, 3 cars will go better than 2, because the aerodynamic effect, the punching of the hole in the air, and everybody else sits in that gap and makes the whole train more aerodynamic. These open-top cars with the FIA roll cage in them are not particularly aerodynamically efficient. Cody Powell off at the side of the track after that incident earlier on. Now, all bets are off. Just under half an hour, 30 minutes to go. It's being covered by a stationary yellow at the moment on driver's right on the backstretch, but that 5.9 seconds of the leaders could disappear at any time if that car does not restart. Race control giving Cody Powell and JTR the absolute opportunity to get that car restarted and moving again. But at the moment, that car is stranded just off the racing surface. Here come the leaders. To the top of the hill. To the bottom of the hill, excuse me. It's an absolute study in precision driving at the front of the field. And there is the full course yellow. Well, I think that was fair, Shea. I really think that was fair, because race control gave Cody Powell the opportunity. It'll be a very short yellow because there is the school pit lane there. You've got to ask yourself, could Cody have pulled off to the left-hand side a couple of 100 yards before he's come to a halt? But this is going to close everything up.
It is, and the other question I have was Cody necessarily in a dangerous place? Because on the straight, you wouldn't want to leave a car there for 27 more minutes of racing, but also that's not a place where people often go off. So that yellow, I'm never going to doubt race control. I trust that they know much better than we do. Maybe Cody had a bigger issue that needed addressing, so I do trust them. But for Cody Powell and JTR Motorsport Engineering, very disappointing day for them. Very exciting opportunity for JTR, and now Cody does manage to get going once again.
Of course he does.
This does benefit Jared Thomas, who has the fastest car in the field and was looking at being at the back of, or the front of the backpack now that 5.5 second gap is completely erased, and he now will have the MMR cars within reach. Cody Powell, though, very good driver, very clean, many club championships to his name, and actually self-professed, quote, all neighborhood driver. So you get these all state, all country, he's all neighborhood. Gotta love it, the Denver, Colorado native.
Yeah, but that's like, you know, you've got in Monaco, you have Max Verstappen, who claims to be the best driver in the world. Next to him, you've got Lewis Hamilton, who claims to be the best driver in Formula One. And 3 doors down, you've got Alan McNish, who still lives in Monaco, saying, I'm just the best driver in the street. Simple as that.
Or best driver ever. Not that Alan would claim that, but we would award that to him.
No. World champion as well, of course.
Yep.
That is, I think race control had to call, in all seriousness now, I think race control had to call that, because if you'd had side-by-side contact and somebody had gone off, Cody was in a difficult place. I think there might be a few questions asked. He's now dropped off the lead lap, as has Farhan Siddiqui, by the way, as to the car miraculously firing up just as the yellow pulled that back together again. Tinfoil hats will be coming out from the conspiracy theorists. We'll leave that speculation to them.
Well, and about that, John, apparently the YouTube chat is saying just that. And hello to Celine Roland, who's watching back at home. Celine, how badly do you want to be in this race, man?
Yeah, hello, Celine. Good to know that you are a former doughty competitor in this series. We miss you and the entertainment that you gave us. The Whelen Mazda MX-5 safety car lights are out, and will pull away. The 6-second discrepancy between the top 3 and the next 8 cars has disappeared. Lovely afternoon to have the top down. Air temperature still hovering. Yeah, temperature still hovering around about 75 Fahrenheit, 73 on the track. That's 24 Celsius in the end, 23 for our international audience. We still have half the race to go, by the way. That is all. We are going to go back to green with pretty much exactly half of the 45 minutes still to go. And Jeremy Fletcher will bring the 3-car McCumbee McAleer Racing train to the line. But now they've got the rest of the field right with them, and Western Workman is right there. The dark purple number 13 car, the bright shiny machine, goes to driver's left. Will try to cut back up the inside. You can't see it at the moment, looking back from the horseshoe at turn 1, but will surely try to drop back into the inside. That was a beautiful formation restart by the MMR team, who spread themselves across just half a car each time, but that makes a very wide Mazda MX-5 threesome at the front of the field. That was brilliantly reorchestrated at the front of the field. Workman, Jared Thomas, Neudorf, Aaron Johnson, Jagger Jones up into the top 8 now from Julian DaCosta, who's the second of the rookies, ahead of Grant West for the top 10, and Zach Hollingshead just outside the top 10 in 11th in the Saito Motorsports car. Saito Motorsports car is the 3rd of the rookies. Tyler Gonzalez a little bit further back down the field. That 57 car. Actually, that car...
Tyler did not start.
Gonzalez did not start the race. So what is the white and green car that I saw in that mix there? Is that Ethan Tyler in the BSI machine? I'll check that through.
Hollingshead.
That is Zach, of course, in the number 20. Thank you, Shea. My apologies. You get so used to saying some of the liveries at the front of the race. Now, 2 pairs of cars, and Workman is going to push Nate Cicero to the lead, I think, here at the top of the roller coaster. Side by side, for Jeremy Fletcher and Nate Cicero, still side by side. And Fletcher's hanging on bravely to the right-hand side of the track, but he's lost the lead and he's lost second as well. Drops back into third position, right ahead of the number 5 of Gresham Wagner. So a big turnaround now on the restart lap. We come to the first past the line after the restart, and we've got a new leader for the first time. It's Nate Cicero scored as the leader at the end of the lap.
His second lap led, the most laps led, goes to Jeremy Fletcher with 6 so far, and then Gresham Wagner with 3. So this is turning into an interesting little contest, because we actually have the meme being played out in reality of the dog sitting amongst all of the sheep. It's happening right now with Weston Workman up there, as Grant West has gone off the circuit and has had some substantial contact. Maybe he can pull behind that tire barrier and then we can stay green. Hopefully that'll happen, because normally yellows breed yellows.
Turn 1, if I am not mistaken,
Yep.
Shea, the horseshoe just into the shade of the mature trees to the outside. It is slightly downhill when you go off the track there. He's trying to get a gear. I think I could see movement inside the cockpit of that MX-5. We've got about a minute or so before any potential decision has to be made. The lead is just coming up to the oak tree at the moment. 19 minutes to go. Cicero from Workman, Jeremy Fletcher sitting in there. Now, what happened to Grant West? That is atypical. It was Alex Bashura who was involved as well. I was just about to say it was a typical turn 1 bit of schmozzle where you get eased off the racing line. And the problem is, as you drop off the race circuit, the grass is on a downhill slope there, so it is very, very difficult to get it back. Grant will be told to stay in the car. He's had some contact on the rear, which I think was the Bachura intervention, which is the Bachura intervention is a less well-known Robert Ludlam manuscript. I think Alex has continued. Yes, he has. Well, he's dropped off the tail end, but that car clearly in the firing line and will have to be removed by our emergency services at VIR. And already the EMR intervention vehicle in there, very comfortable Porsche Cayenne on the scene. The good news is that Grant was able to open the door. I could see him trying to get reverse actually, but I think there's a little bit of steering damage at the front of that car, Shea, so he was pretty certain he knew what the issue was going to be.
Yep.
He almost rolled off through the tyre wall actually, to be honest.
That's what I was really hoping for, that he could just continue forward and then maybe make a hard right and be protected by the tire barrier, but perhaps that's not a safe place, especially with how quickly we've seen cars gain velocity in the grass at turn 1.
Yes, that is a good point. Now, I think they might be calling for a flatbed here, Shea, which if that is the case, the AMR safety team have consulted with Grant and asked him if he had steering ability, and they're asking him to stand behind the barrier. Oh no, they're pulling him back, so they are going to try and flat tow it at least somewhere. Grant is going back to the emergency vehicle again. This is standard operational procedure. Don't anticipate that he has too much of an issue. We have a tractor with a backhoe on it to maybe sort out some of the tyre barriers. I don't think he hit them that hard. Well, I'm seeing all of the wheels, well, both of the wheels on the left-hand side at least, Shea, doing what they should do. So I think we might be able to get that car out of the barriers pretty quickly. 16 minutes on the clock. Nate Cicero will cool his Michelin tyres at the front of the field. Now, for those people of a certain age, I'm indebted to Alan Prosser, who goes under the Twitter, the X handle, brilliant handle of Lanzarote Camel. I would think he's still doing maybe late lunch service on a Sunday at the superb hostelry and campsite where he works in Wales. But he tends to be watching and listening as he goes along. He says the gaps at the front of the field measured not by time but by feeler gauges. Now, those of you who are of a certain age who remember doing the gaps between the contacts on the points in a distributor or the electrodes on spark plugs will know exactly what Alan is talking about there. And Dave Olcock, hello Dave. At what point did MX-5, Whelen MX-5 Cup Racing employ Mario Kart style bungee cords between the racing? He's not far wrong there, is it?
No, definitely not.
Very tight.
If you watched yesterday's race, you would have seen Jeremy Fletcher using the star power as well, but he wasn't doing the 8-year-old kid thing of running into every single competitor just to see them go flying off the track at the same time. No, he was very... That car, I said it when he got to the lead yesterday when Jeremy Fletcher went from back to front. The car, other than the initial... I think there was a tiny little bit of contact on the right rear of his car, which unsettled the car if it did not send him off. Although, as you were mentioning earlier on, the being offline and on the other series rubber probably didn't help. But that car was pristine when Jeremy brought it into victory lane. And that is his first victory. That was his first victory yesterday. He has crossed the line first, but he had a time penalty in a previous race in Whelen MX-5 Cup presented by Michelin. But that car was pristine. I don't think there was a scrape or a scratch at all on that car. That is testament to the respect that is afforded to each of the competitors by their competitors. Yes, the tyre barrier did need slightly styling. The gap that was there was not meant to be there.
Yes, it is. Yes, he made himself the gap. I do think that tyre wall rebuilding should be an Olympic sport in LA in 4 years' time.
Yes, for sure. And
it's a
just
thing of beauty.
Manipulating those machines and what tricks can you do? I mean, there's plenty of videos of that on Reddit and YouTube, and I have fallen prey to that many a time before.
Well, if we aren't having braking anymore, we need something else that can be judged on interpretation, at style, artistic impression, as well as speed. As well, you could add the speed thing in as well, but do a bit of the tricks as well. I like that idea. Tyre wall rebuilding. We know the guys here are pretty good. We know the guys at Road America are good. Very good. We know that. Where was it where we had the little forklift truck that was running around like Luigi out of cars?
Oh, gosh. I can't remember now, but I remember
CTMP?
that. Was it CTMP? Yes. So
yeah,
cute.
I think it was. Yeah.
Boy, the movement that we've had so far in this race, from where people have started to where they're running now, it's quite extraordinary, because you've got some people who haven't changed very many positions. Wes Morkman from 9th up to 2nd. Jared Thomas obviously starting last in the what was effectively the 25th position, with Tyler Gonzalez not starting, up to well within the top 5 now. Aaron John Somm only gaining 1 position. That's a rare day as well. I mean, we should highlight the good, but also the less movement taking place. We're used to a lot more.
That is unusual, no doubt about that. We're going to have, I reckon, about 8 minutes to go when we come back to green flag racing. If you're bringing youngsters to the track, don't forget the ear protection. Very, very important for young eardrums. Responsible parenting being displayed around the circuit, and of course coming to the track means that you can dig out all your favourite racing shirts as well,
and find new ones. She was sporting a Roxy shirt as well, so that was super cute.
Yeah, absolutely. I did notice that Styled Aesthetic as well have got the Turner Taco hats on sale up at the skid pan, which is It's become something of a tradition. We've got the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship as our main race this Super Sunday, and we've got coverage for that coming for you. Jeremy Shaw will be joining Shea, Adam and myself. Rexy and Roxy being superstars in that. We've got Roxy this weekend, the female dinosaur, and EO Racing, one of the 23 GT cars that will be taking part in our Sunday main race coming up on IMSA Radio and IMSA TV later on this afternoon. Perfect weather conditions. With this will be the final lap of yellow, so we will go back to green. Reminder, with the whole field back together, the top 10 will take a check home as they did yesterday. Starts at $6,000 for the winner, Shea.
Yep, $6 grand for winning the race, $5 grand for second, $4 grand for third, pays all the way down to 10th place. So you walk away with, yes, real cash money every time you do a Mazda MX-5 Cup race if you're finished within the top 10. And then for the championship, the season-long $250,000 at the banquet in just over a month's time, little over a month's time, when we'll be at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. $80,000 for the best rookie, and if you finish within the top 10 of points, which right now we have some people that are right there on the fringe trying to break in, you indeed get another comical big check. So it's well worth racing in this series when it loves you back.
The idea of a team sport of tyre wall building at the Olympics, 4 people plus 1 piece of machinery, 2 events, a straight race to build 3 deep and 8 wide wall, and then a freestyle event. That is fabulous. We've started something here. Hang on, dear International Olympic Committee. Well, do you know what? There's been stranger things in the Olympics. 8.5 minutes on the clock right now. It'll be just under that as we come to the green flag. Nate Cicero brings them back to green for the Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup presented by Michelin. Michelin GT Challenge at VIR this weekend. Race 2 of 2. Cicero. Now, at this point, I reckon we are getting very close to all bets being off. The problem with bringing everybody together, it's great, particularly for everyone who was 4th on down, but really now you're going to be fighting forwards and defending rearwards all at the same time as Jagger Jones goes down the inside. Nice clean move there on, I think that was Jonathan Neudorf, who he went down the inside, the number 55 with the lighter blue on the car. But really anybody in the top 10 could still take a podium position, possibly more. I reckon that puts Jagger Jones up into about 6th or 7th position. I think that's 6th as they go through. Shea, we've seen from yesterday's race, it is possible to defend from the front if you've got a good car. When Jeremy Fletcher got to the front yesterday, he was able to hold off the hordes. He's in 3rd at the moment. Is it time to make the jump to the front of the field? Is Nate Cicero doing the right thing, or would you rather be Weston Workman in 2nd or Jeremy Fletcher in 3rd?
I want to be Nate Cicero at this point in time, because any moment there could be another full course caution, and that would seal the deal for Nate Cicero. So yeah, with 6 minutes and 45 seconds to go, I want to be out front in that clean air as Gresham Wagner, big wiggle going into the braking at 15 as they all accordion together. Jared Thomas getting strung out a little bit. He's being attacked by 2 MMR cars.
Yeah, on the grass for Gresham Wagner in the braking up to the top of the roller coaster, and then Jared Thomas making a little mistake that's cost him a couple of places. Nate Cicero's going to need to lead another lap here, and all of a sudden there's a tiny bit of a gap, but the number 5 Gresham Wagner and the number 22 teammate Jeremy Fletcher are making sure they're working together. Absolutely lockstep between those two. Barely get a piece of paper between the pair of them, and they're bringing this group back together. This is not all over yet. Now you will understand why in the first 5 minutes we weren't getting overly excited about lead changes. This is where it all happens. We're getting down now into the last 3 laps of this race. So that is just under 10 miles, and this is where the podium, Shea Adam, will be decided.
It will be decided on the last corner, the last lap, most likely, because that's how competitive the Mazda MX-5 Cup is. Year on year, it delivers. And right now, Nate Cicero is going, hey, I won a race at VIR last year. I'm capable of doing it again. I actually saw he and Jeremy Fletcher this morning. They were walking back from breakfast, and I said, hey, congrats to both of you, previous race winners at this track. Nate had a huge smile on his face. Jeremy looked up and went, job's not done yet. So that just tells you where their mindsets are coming into this morning.
Let's not forget the car, the black car in 4th position at the moment. It started right at the back after a chassis change on that machinery for Jared Thomas, and now he goes from 4th to 3rd to 2nd in the Zuber tax and advisory machine. That is a livery you will see later on in the year. And being pressed into action this weekend because of a problem with his primary machine. But because he changed chassis, he had to take the penalty and start at the back. He'd fought his way up into the lead group. Yes, there's been a couple of interventions of the Whelen MX-5 safety car, but even at that point, he was already in the leading group. Across the line, it's still the top 8 pretty much together. 2 pairs of 2, and Workman comes round the outside on the slingshot, tries to get up to the lead, but that has been taken by Jared Thomas. And the tax man from the back of the grid at the moment is collecting. Front of the field for the number 96. Surely we are not going to see 2 back-to-front victories in 2 days at the same circuit. That's how it stands at the moment. This is about when Jeremy Fletcher made his move yesterday, Shea, and he held off the pack for the last 2 or 3 laps, and we've got 1 more lap left at the end of this one.
Jared Thomas running without the name or number on the windshield as well. That tells you just how not meant to run this weekend that car was. It was in the trailer for testing purposes, and then after a starter problem, Jared Thomas needing to revert to this car, the setup was completely ready for an oval, not at all for turning left and right. We have a lot of right-handers at VIR, by the way, and it is going well. So Jared Thomas out front in the clean air, but that doesn't mean he'll stay there for long.
5 cars in that lead group. Western Workman sitting in 2nd. I promise there is a car behind the black Zuber machine. You can hardly see it as they head over one of the rises on that back straight. That's a long back straight, and then just a little left kink before you have to scrub off speed through the top of the roller coaster. It's Gresham Wagner there in 3rd place in the number 5. The number 22 is Jeremy Fletcher with the lighter blue sides on his McCumbee McAleer racing car. JTR, BSI, McCumbee McAleer. The major teams are all represented. It will be the white flag this time around. 3.27 miles between another back-to-front victory for Jared Thomas. Western Workman, is he going to come up 2nd both days? He's led laps on both occasions. Gresham Wagner in there as well. Jeremy Fletcher's not out of making this a 2 for this weekend, Shea.
And Jeremy Fletcher, unless he leads the last lap, i.e. wins the race, will come in 2nd to most laps led to Nate Cicero. We've got 2 cars off at turn 1. I think that's the 54 of Heather Hadley and the 15 of Sally Mott. Oh, no!
Both of the lady racers perhaps involved there. The other car, it might have been as Robert Mao, the MBM performance car. That 16 car is blue and white machine. It's not going to cause a cessation of hostilities at the front of the field. Coming up to halfway around the final lap, You were spot on. 15 and 54, Shea. It was the two female drivers, and Sally Mott has resumed. She'll then finish ahead and get the award, the cash award of a couple of grand for the best female driver. There are a couple of opportunities for the race results to change here, and here is one of them. Into the braking area, coming into the top of the roller coaster, down the inside. Gresham Wagner in the number 5 car. Jeremy Fletcher stayed on the outside. He rockets up to second place. There's a long run to the checkered flag here. And at the moment, Jared Thomas is delighted to see side-by-side action, because that's slowing down the cars behind him. Thomas has got a 2-car advantage here. Will it be enough for the 96? JTR Motorsports engineering the Uber machine. Holds it at the moment. Workman coming through, but no, he's going to be pipped on the line. Fletcher takes it. The taxman does not collect the victory. It's a delightful double for Jeremy Fletcher, helped to the line by his teammate Gresham Wagner, who finishes on the box in third. I said there was two opportunities, one at the braking area at the top of the hill for the roller coaster, and then the long run to the line. Teamwork makes the dream work for Macumbi McAleer Racing. That was a team victory there, Shea, no doubt.
Oh, that was mega. That is what they talk about in the MMR truck. Guys, let's work together. If we all do well, all boats will rise on the same tide. And that's exactly what we just saw play out. Congratulations to MMR for the weekend sweep. 2 steps on the podium once again for that organization. Excellent job by Gresham Wagner to stay patient and look at the bigger picture. Helping a teammate was more important than letting someone else come in.
Oh, so it looked like another back-to-front victory as we were coming to the run to the line. But apparently MMR team worked out their deductibles and made it past the taxman to get a 1-3. Jared Thomas, though, from the back of the grid in that number 96 car in second. In some ways, maybe there was slightly too much of a gap. Number 5, down the left-hand side, the right of our picture, as he goes down. This is what set that up, actually, with the number 22, the light blue car of Jeremy Fletcher getting into second, side by side with his team owner and teammate. And for a moment, that sprung the Jared Thomas number 96 Super Advisory car. But then the MMR cars got their act together. 2 cars working better than one, and actually in MX-5 terms that wasn't close for the victory. 0.061 of a second between first and second, and Gresham Wagner only just 0.008 away from a 1-2. Brilliant stuff, with the top 3 cars finishing in under a tenth of a second, 0.069, and in fact the first 6 cars within half a second, with Weston Workman and Nate Cicero. Weston Workman taking the best position of the rookie, just ahead of Julian DaCosta and Zach Hollingwood. As far as the lady drivers are concerned, Sally Mott, I think, just got ahead of Heather Hadley at the end. Yes, she did, so she'll take the prize for that. Shea, Adam, before we say goodbye from the Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup presented by Michelin, a quick look at the unofficial point standings as we head into the final rounds of the season.
Remaining in 6th place after this weekend is Weston Workman, 2,890, 100 points ahead of him after a terrible finish in race number 2. Aaron John Somm, 2,990 points. In 4th place, we now have by himself Nate Cicero, 3,080 points. In 3rd, 3,100 points for Gresham Wagner. In 2nd, Jared Thomas, 3,150, and our new championship leader after this weekend, double race winner Jeremy Fletcher, 3,210 points.
Well, two races that have given us the ultimate in entertainment and excitement, witnessed by Shea Adam and me, John Hindhaugh, and your good selves. What a race by Jared Thomas, and for a while it looked like another back of the field to front and top step of the podium. But in the run for the line, Michelin Racing getting it together, and Gresham Wagner pushing Jeremy Fletcher to the front of the field. 2 wins for Jeremy, and he's the new championship leader as we leave VIR. Bye-bye.